3 years into our engagement. My fiancée said she was going to the United States for further studies. I believed her. Right until my future mother-in-law's hand slipped in the family group chat and she accidentally posted an ultrasound image. Right there on the scan were the words, Mr. Jason, MS, Oriana. I stared at my phone screen for 3 seconds, then quietly ordered myself a bowl of ramen. You can't call off an engagement on an empty stomach. Chapter 1. My phone buzzed. A new message popped up in the family group chat. Sender, Oriana's mother, Valentina. An image. I thought it was another one of those health tip memes she loved spamming in the chat. So I casually tapped it open. Ultrasound scan. At the top right corner was a line of text. Mr. Jason, MS, Oriana, 14 weeks pregnant, fetus developing well. I stared at that line, then read it again. Jason, Oriana, 14 weeks pregnant. 14 weeks. My fiancé has only been abroad for 3 months. Damn. The timeline matches up so perfectly they practically calculated the ovulation date for me too. The group chat exploded instantly. Oriana's dad sent a string of question marks. My mom sent a string of question marks. Valentina tried withdrawing the image 8 times in a row, but someone had already screenshot it. Then she typed, wrong picture, wrong picture. It belongs to my coworker. My coworker. What a coincidence. Your coworker even has the exact same name as your daughter. I flipped my phone face down on the table, took a deep breath, opened the food delivery app and ordered ramen with double beef. In the face of life-changing disasters, a man must eat first. That's a principle. My phone kept ringing. My mom called 3 times in a row. I declined every one. The 4th call came from Oriana. I looked at her caller ID. The contact name was still saved as wife, with a little heart next to it. That needs changing. What should I rename it to? Jason's wife. Too formal. Surrogacy ambassador. Too mean. I answered. Adrian. Let me explain. Oriana's voice came through the phone, shaky and tearful. The signal was bad, cutting in and out. I switched to speaker mode and used my free hand to peel an orange. That ultrasound was photoshopped. Someone's trying to sabotage me. My mom's phone got hacked. Adrian, believe me, I'm in America studying, you know that. Can you say literally anything else? I chewed on an orange slice. The sour juice made my eyes squint slightly. Who's Jason? Silence on the other end. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. It's the hospital mixed up the names. It's not. Oriana. I said her name quietly. Which hospital in Los Angeles are you at? I can have someone check. If they really messed up the names, we can file a complaint. No response. Complete silence. About half a minute later, her tone changed. Adrian, this situation is complicated. Can you wait until I come back so we can talk face to face? I squeezed the orange peel in my hand until a bitter citrus scent seeped out. No need. What do you mean? I mean there's no need to talk in person anymore. I stood up and walked to the window. Downstairs, an old man was walking his dog. The corgi took 2 steps and flopped onto the ground every few seconds. Honestly, same mood. The wedding is off. The bride price, $368,000, and the car too. Tell Jason to compensate me at full value. Adrian, you. I hung up, then changed her contact name to former business partner, investment withdrawn. My delivery arrived. While crouching by the doorway unpacking my ramen, my buddy Aaron called. Holy shit, Adrian. Screenshots from your family group chat already made it to me. You got cheated on, bro. You actually got cheated on. Yeah, news travels fast, brother. Don't bottle it up. If you wanna cry, I got shoulders. I'm eating ramen. Want some? Got extra beef. Aaron went silent for 3 seconds. Did you mentally snap or something? I stuffed a tangled mess of noodles into my mouth. No, I just think a former fiancé who flew overseas to have another man's baby isn't worth starving over. Aaron fell silent again. Fair enough. So what are you gonna do next? I swallowed the noodles. Finish this meal first, and after that, ship all her stuff back to her. Cash on delivery for the shipping fee. Damn, you're ruthless. Chapter 2. After finishing my ramen, I cleaned up the things Oriana had left at my place. 3 pairs of slippers, 1.5 bottles of shampoo, a Hello Kitty pillow, and a photo of the 2 of us sitting on the nightstand. In the picture, she was smiling sweetly. I looked at it for 2 seconds, then turned the frame face down. Not because I was heartbroken. It was just irritating to look at. After flipping it over, the back of the frame was exposed. There was a small printed sentence on it. For product quality issues, please contact customer service. Even the photo frame is reminding me this thing can be returned. I was packing her belongings into a cardboard box when my phone rang again. Oriana's mother. Adrian, well, things aren't what you think. Auntie. Yes. The Oriana written on that ultrasound photo. Which coworker of yours was that again? I thought about it for a long time, but I can't remember any of your coworkers being named Oriana. She froze on the other end. Auntie, I'm not trying to make things difficult for you. Whatever happened between me and Oriana ends here. As for the bride price, discuss it with uncle. I'm not in a rush. I'll give you a month. Adrian, listen to auntie. Sorry, I have surgery prep to do. I hung up, sealed the cardboard box, then wrote the shipping address on the delivery form, Oriana's home. In the remarks section, I added a few words, brand new, unopened. Honestly, these past 3 years with her really did feel unopened. The next morning, I went to work as usual. Emergency surgery department, morning shift. I had just changed into my white coat and entered the department when the head nurse gave me a look. Dr. Adrian, someone's here to see you. I looked up. At the end of the hallway stood a middle-aged man, Oriana's father, Leonardo. He was wearing a gray jacket and carrying a bag of fruit, his expression somewhere between constipation and a funeral. Here we go. The negotiation representative has arrived. Uncle, Adrian, can we talk outside for a minute? I asked the head nurse for 5 minutes and followed him to the stairwell. Leonardo held out the fruit bag toward me. I didn't take it. He awkwardly shifted it from one hand to the other, then back again. Adrian, what happened was indeed Oriana's fault. Whoa. Starting off by admitting fault. Looks like Valentina's, just co-workers, story has already been internally rejected. But, you know, young people make mistakes sometimes. Uncle, she's 14 weeks pregnant. If this was just a moment of confusion, that moment lasted pretty long. Leonardo's face twitched. He placed the fruit bag on the windowsill and rubbed his hands together. Adrian, you're a good kid. Uncle knows that. Let me handle this. I'll make Oriana cut things off over there. And you two can continue. Uncle, I interrupted him. Your daughter is carrying another man's child, and you want me to continue? Continue what? Raising the baby for her? Leonardo's lips moved, but no words came out. I looked at the sweat forming on his forehead. The stairwell smelled of disinfectant mixed with the sweet scent of fruit. Wind poured in through the half-open window. Uncle, you're a father. I understand that, but I'm not some gullible sucker. I pulled an envelope from my pocket. These are the receipts and transfer records for the bride price. $368,000. Plus the car worth $190,000. Take a look. Just return the original amount. Leonardo stared at the envelope like it was a court verdict. He didn't take it. I placed the envelope beside the fruit bag. No rush. Within a month is fine. Uncle, I need to get back to work. As I turned to leave, Leonardo called out behind me. Adrian, do you really not care about the past at all? I stopped walking, then looked back at him. Uncle, the past belongs to two people. When she stopped caring about it, she never asked me first. Leonardo stood there in the stairwell, one hand gripping the railing. The fruit bag slipped off the windowsill. Apples rolled everywhere across the floor. He bent down to pick them up. I didn't help him. Chapter 3. At noon, I was eating in the cafeteria. Aaron sent me a message on WeChat. Brother, I dug up Jason's background. Guess what? He owns a company in Los Angeles importing medical equipment, and listen carefully, his biggest upstream supplier is the Chan Medical Group. I chewed my rice slowly. Chan Medical Group, founded by my grandfather, managed by my father now, and I'm the first successor written into the family trust. Of course, Oriana knew none of this. All she knew was that I was a surgeon making a little over $20,000 a month, driving a car worth barely over $100,000, living in a 90-square-meter 2-bedroom apartment near the hospital. She didn't know I bought that cheap car on purpose because expensive cars cost too much to park at work. She didn't know the entire office building underneath that apartment belonged to my family. And she definitely didn't know that her new man, Jason, had to smile politely at my dad's purchasing managers every month just to secure inventory. Crazy coincidence, right? Aaron spammed a string of laughing emojis. You want to crush him? One phone call and he's done, brother. I put down my chopsticks, thought about it for a moment. No rush. Why not? Let the bullets fly a little longer. Let him have the baby first. Then I'll tell him whose name signs his paychecks. 3 in the afternoon. Oriana called again. This time, I answered. Adrian, I know you're angry, but can you give me one chance? I want to explain everything to you in person. Her voice sounded much calmer than yesterday. There was even a rehearsed softness to it. Explain what? Explain, us. There is no us anymore. Adrian. Her voice rose. Can't you at least hear me out? What happened with Jason, it was an accident. Accidentally getting 14 weeks pregnant is pretty impressive. You, Oriana. I leaned back in my chair and looked out the window. Before you left the country, I asked if you wanted to travel together. You said you were busy. I asked if you wanted to meet for dinner. You said you were busy. For 3 months. You only called me 4 times. None of those calls lasted longer than 3 minutes. Silence filled the other end. What you were busy doing. I know now. Adrian, your father already knows about returning the bride price. Go live happily with Jason. I'm not stopping you. I hung up, then opened the food delivery app. Tonight felt like a barbecue pork rice kind of day. That evening, on my way home, I passed the package lockers at my apartment complex, so I mailed something. The Hello Kitty pillow, addressed to Jason. In the remarks section of the shipping label, I wrote, "Dear Mr. Jason, this is a personal belonging your wife left behind at her ex-fiancé's residence. Please kindly receive it. Best wishes. Proper etiquette matters. A man shouldn't lose his manners just because he got cheated on. Chapter 4. Friday night. Aaron dragged me out of the house, insisting he was going to help me relax. I didn't want to go. Then he said he was paying. I left immediately. If it's free and you don't eat it, you're an idiot. He booked a private room at a Japanese restaurant. Bro, you know what? I even arranged someone for you. My chopsticks paused midair. You set me up on a blind date. Not a blind date. She's a new designer at my company. Pretty cute. Single. I just figured you need to move on instead of sitting at home eating takeout every day. What's wrong with takeout? Takeout's way more loyal than my ex-fiancé. At least Ramen won't run off to America and get pregnant by another man. Aaron choked on his own words. The door slid open. A girl walked in. Long hair, white blouse, a tiny mole resting above her collarbone. She was carrying a canvas tote bag. As she stepped inside, she tripped over the doorway and stumbled forward. The tote bag flew out of her hand and landed directly on the table in front of me. Everything inside scattered across the tabletop. Lipstick, keys, a pack of unopened tissues, and a condom. The three of us simultaneously lowered our heads to stare at it. The air froze solid. Her face instantly turned red all the way to her ears as she scrambled to gather her things back up. That was company employee benefits. No, I mean, the pharmacy gave it away for free, not that either. Aaron's face was already twisting from trying not to laugh. Expressionless, I pushed the condom back toward her. You should keep better track of that. Dropping one on the floor is bad luck. She looked up at me. I looked back at her. Then I recognized her. Oriana's college roommate, Carmen. The last time I saw her was at Oriana's birthday party 2 years ago. She'd sat quietly in the corner decorating frosting flowers on the cake and barely spoke. Clearly, she recognized me too. Her face went from red to white. You're Oriana's ex-fiancé, I said. Ex-fiancé, she repeated. The private room became so quiet we could hear the birthday song from the neighboring table. Aaron looked at me, then at her. Phone still frozen in his hand. You two know each other? We do, I said. She's Oriana's college best friend. Aaron's expression went through an entire emotional journey, from shock to panic, from panic to guilt, finally settling into complete despair. I didn't know. I seriously didn't know. Carmen finished gathering her things and sat down. She didn't leave. I heard about what happened to Oriana, she said. Her voice was lower than I remembered. What she did was wrong. I picked up a slice of salmon. You don't need to apologize for her. I wasn't planning to. She looked straight at me. Her gaze was direct. I just think she's stupid. The salmon nearly slipped from my chopsticks. Aaron instantly sprayed beer out of his mouth. Dinner lasted 2 hours. Carmen was far more interesting than I expected. She worked in interior design and was interning at Aaron's company. She spoke slowly, but every sentence carried a sting, not the cruel kind, more like a cactus, prickly, but aesthetically pleasing. Oriana talked about Jason all the time back in college. She said while slowly grinding wasabi around her plate with her chopsticks. Senior this, senior that. Even back then, I felt like the way she treated you wasn't like a boyfriend. More like what? Like she was holding a stable investment fund, reliable whenever needed, and when she didn't need it, she'd just leave it there collecting interest. I looked at her. That metaphor sounds oddly professional. I lost money trading stocks before, so the understanding runs deep. Beside us, Aaron was laughing so hard he looked like a dehydrated fish, slapping the table. What even is this chemistry between you two? Chapter 5. When dinner ended, it was raining outside. Carmen hadn't brought an umbrella. I glanced at the shared umbrella stand by the entrance, inserted 2 coins, then handed one to her. She took it. Thanks. You're welcome. $2. Pay me back next time. She froze for a second, then she laughed. Not the polite kind of laugh, the kind where her front teeth showed and her eyes curved into crescents. Rain hammered against the awning overhead with sharp popping sounds. She walked a few steps with the umbrella, then turned back to look at me. Adrian, yeah. You're way more interesting than Oriana said you were. She always claimed you were boring. I slipped my hands into my pockets. Maybe. Boring men are the ones who get cheated on. She didn't respond, just turned and disappeared into the rain. The canvas tote bag swung lightly against her hip as she walked. I stood beneath the awning watching for a while. Aaron leaned over and elbowed me. So, what do you think? About what? Carmen, what do you think of her? I glanced at him. She still owes me $2. I'm asking if you're interested in her. I looked toward the direction she had disappeared, in the rainy haze. Only a blurry silhouette remained. Help me check whether she has a boyfriend. Aaron wore the exact expression of a man thinking, I knew it. Jason brought Oriana back to the country. Aaron was the one who told me. Guess what? Those two actually hard-launched their relationship on WeChat Moments. They even posted a whole maternity photo shoot from LA. Caption says, the best time of our lives. I opened WeChat Moments. Oriana wore a white dress, standing sideways beneath palm trees, her stomach already slightly rounded. Jason hugged her from behind, chin resting on top of her head. Maximum filter usage. Maximum cringe caption. The comments section was filled with, so happy for you too. Congratulations, congratulations. But I noticed something. Oriana had blocked me from seeing the post. Aaron had sent me screenshots. Good block. Saves me the trouble of liking the post and typing congratulations myself. How do you feel? Aaron asked. How do I feel? I locked my phone and twisted open a bottle of mineral water. I feel like his posture while holding her waist is bad for the spine. Patients with lumbar disc herniation usually shouldn't apply force like that. Can you react like a normal human being for once? What's there to react to? Her life has nothing to do with me anymore. I took a sip of water, but she still hasn't returned my bride price. That weekend, the hospital hosted a medical industry forum. I attended as one of the young surgical representatives. When I arrived at the venue to sign in, I saw a name on the guest list. Jason. ZH Medical Devices, USA, Company, Ltd, CEO. He came too. Fate really is unavoidable sometimes. I signed my name and found a quiet corner to sit in. During the tea break, a tall man appeared in the crowd. Sharp suit, hair slicked back with gel, shoes polished bright enough to reflect light. Jason. Two assistants followed behind him carrying coffee cups while his eyes swept across the room. Then he saw me. His smile froze for about 0.3 seconds, then returned immediately. He walked over. Adrian. Mr. Jason. I didn't stand. I stayed seated, tilting my head slightly to look up at him. He smiled. That standard fake smile everyone wears at business receptions. Long time no see. I heard you're working here as a surgeon. Not bad. Not bad. My hands are still steady enough to hold a scalpel. He sat down across from me. About what happened with Oriana. Yeah. I know you probably feel uncomfortable, but love is complicated. Mr. Jason. I interrupted him. What? Did you receive the package? The Hello Kitty pillow? A crack finally appeared in his smile. I received it. Good. Then regarding the bride price. When would it be convenient to discuss repayment? $368,000. Plus a car worth $190,000. Since you took the person, you should settle the bill. The smile on his face finally collapsed completely. Adrian, what exactly do you mean by that? Oriana and I truly love each other. I don't care whether your love is real or fake. I only care about my money. I stood up. Now we were eye level. He was half a head taller than me, but I noticed him step back half a pace. $558,000 within 1 month. Thank you. I picked up my teacup. The tea's good. You should try some too. Chapter 6. I left, without looking back, but I could feel his gaze on me like two dull knives, not sharp enough to hurt, but annoying enough to be irritating. The conference continued. Jason went on stage to give a presentation about his medical equipment import business. The PowerPoint was flashy. The numbers were real. Annual revenue of $12 million. Partnerships with 37 hospitals. Major suppliers including. A logo flashed across the screen. Chan Medical Group. He even emphasized the partnership during the presentation. We have established a deep strategic partnership with Chan Medical Group, one of the top medical corporations in the country. They are our most important upstream partner. I sat in the audience, took a sip of tea. Kid, you're bragging about your relationship with your sugar daddy in front of his grandson. This scene deserves a perfect score. After the conference ended, I called my father. Dad, does the company have a supplier called ZH Medical Devices? The one in Los Angeles? Yes. Why? Small company, not a huge volume. Nothing. Don't touch them yet. You know them. Kind of. He stole my ex-fiancée. There was a 2-second silence on the other end. Then my father delivered a remarkably sophisticated response. So when do you want me to touch them? After the baby's born. All right. Click. Hung up. Between father and son, true understanding requires very few words. Over the next 2 weeks, I met Carmen 3 times. The first time was when she came to repay the $2. She specifically came all the way to the hospital and slapped 2 coins onto the reception desk. The head nurse looked at her, then looked at me. Dr. Adrian, what kind of loan shark business are you running? Umbrella debt. She really made a special trip over $2. Carmen laughed beside me. I insisted on coming. Didn't want to owe anyone a favor. The head nurse gave her a long look from head to toe. Then the way she looked at me changed. The kind of look that clearly said, you were absolutely right to cancel that engagement. The second time, she treated me to dinner. Said she wanted to thank me for lending her the umbrella. I told her a $2 umbrella wasn't worth a whole meal. She said then she'd consider it an advance repayment on future favors. We went to a roadside restaurant and ordered 4 dishes. She ate more than I did. How did you and Oriana meet? I asked. Freshman year. We got assigned to the same dorm room. She slept in the bunk above mine. Were you close? Carmen's chopsticks paused slightly. How should I put it? She treated me pretty well. Saved seats for me. Bought me breakfast. But. She treated everyone well. The kind of kindness that always had a purpose behind it. She needed friends not because she liked you, but because she needed someone beside her to make herself look better. She took a sip of soup. I wasn't as pretty as her. Not as smart as her. My family wasn't as wealthy as hers either. So I became her best friend. After hearing that, I slowly put down my chopsticks. Then why did you stay friends with her? Because I'm slow. She looked at me. By the time I realized it, college had already ended. Slow people are always the last to realize they've been used. Like her. Like me. The 3rd meeting ended in disaster. Not a bad disaster. An awkward disaster. I went to Aaron's company to pick him up for dinner and ran into Carmen in the elevator. She was carrying a stack of blueprints that covered half her face. There was a 3rd person in the elevator. Oriana's mother. Valentina. For some reason, Valentina happened to be in that office building that day. Later I heard she was there to meet a friend who worked in insurance. The elevator doors closed. The 3 of us stared at each other. She noticed me first. Her expression froze. Then she saw Carmen. Then she looked at the distance between us. Less than 30 centimeters apart. Chapter 7. The elevator was small. Valentina's brain immediately began operating at approximately 10,000 revolutions per second. I could practically hear her CPU overheating. Adrian. You, and this young lady. Carmen peeked out from behind the blueprints and recognized her. Auntie Valentina. Valentina recognized her too. The expression on her face was so dramatic it belonged in an oil painting. Shock. Disbelief. Disbelief turning into anger. Anger turning into fear. You're Oriana's classmate. Why are you with Adrian? Auntie, we're not together. I just work in this building. You're the reason Oriana got dumped, aren't you? You seduced him. Carmen's eyes widened. I nearly laughed out loud. Amazing. Your daughter flew overseas to get pregnant by another man. And somehow you're accusing someone else of seducing me. This level of shameless blame shifting would earn applause from traffic police. Auntie, I said. What? First, Carmen and I ran into each other by coincidence. Second, even if we were together, it has nothing to do with Oriana, because Oriana and I ended a long time ago. Third, the elevator arrived. The doors opened. Third, there are 21 days left before the deadline to return the bride price. Please remind your daughter. I walked out of the elevator. Valentina stood inside, lips trembling. The elevator doors slowly closed. The last thing I saw was her shaking hand gripping the elevator wall. Carmen followed me out. Weren't you a little too harsh just now? Not harsh. I was just collecting a debt. She looked at me, then lowered her head and laughed softly. Her shoulders trembled slightly. You're really a strange person. People who've been cheated on usually end up a little strange. That night, Oriana sent me a message on WeChat. Adrian, are you with Carmen now? I replied with one character, a question mark. My mom said she saw you two together. You did it on purpose, didn't you? You got close to her just to make me angry. I typed out a sentence, then deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. In the end, I only sent 4 words. None of your business. Then I blocked her. The screen dimmed. I tossed my phone onto the table. Outside the window, the streetlights blurred into soft yellow smudges through the fog. I leaned back against the sofa and stared at the ceiling. Honestly, for one brief moment, my chest tightened a little, not because of Oriana, but because I suddenly realized something. I had spent 3 years sincerely participating in a fake relationship. The feeling wasn't heartbreak. It felt more like discovering that the $100 bills in your wallet, the ones you'd carried around for 3 years, were counterfeit. It doesn't hurt, but damn, what a loss. Chapter 8. The 4th time I met Carmen, she was the one who invited me out. Adrian, are you free? I need help checking out an apartment. An apartment? I'm moving. My current place is too far from work. Aren't you a doctor? Help me see if the lighting and ventilation are healthy. Yuri asking a surgeon to evaluate apartment ventilation. What do you think I am? A pulmonologist? But I went anyway. The apartment was on the 6th floor of an old building. No elevator. By the 4th floor, she was already out of breath. You don't exercise much, do you? Designers do all our exercising with our wrists. Then why buy a 6th floor apartment? Because it's cheap. I looked at her leaning forward with her hands on her knees, panting for air. Her hair clung to her cheeks, sweat glistened on the tip of her nose. Then I took the water bottle and bag from her hands. Come on, only 2 floors left. She looked up at me. You're not tired? I stand at operating tables for 6 hours straight every day. 2 flights of stairs are nothing. The corner of her mouth lifted slightly. She didn't say anything, just followed behind me. The apartment wasn't bad. Good sunlight. A small window in the bathroom. There was a crack in the living room wall, hidden behind a painting left by the previous tenant. You should pay attention to this crack. Could be structural settling, I said, pointing at the wall. How do you even know that? I've cut through too many human bones. I've become sensitive to cracks. She burst out laughing. Standing by the window, sunlight struck the side of her face, turning her eyelashes gold. I froze for a second. Not because my heart skipped a beat. It was more like, this scene deserved to be photographed. Adrian, stay awake. The corpse of your last relationship isn't even cold yet. After leaving the apartment, we ate noodles downstairs at a small noodle shop. She ordered beef noodles, large bowl, extra egg. You eat a lot. A designer's happiness depends entirely on carbohydrates. I watched her noisily slurp noodles while soup splashed onto her chin. She casually wiped it away with the back of her hand. No pretending. Completely different from Oriana. Oriana always ate in tiny bites. In public, she never even opened her mouth too wide. Every photo she posted online was heavily edited. Carmen was different. She lived like a giant bowl of spicy beef noodles overloaded with chili peppers, steaming hot, unafraid of burning her mouth. Adrian, yeah. You've been staring at me eat noodles for 3 straight minutes. I'm contemplating a medical issue. What issue? With the way you eat. Don't you get acid reflux? She choked. Noodle soup nearly came out of her nose. Can you have one normal conversation? I handed her a tissue. She took it and wiped her mouth, tears from coughing still hanging in the corners of her eyes. Then she laughed. Her eyes curved into crescent moons again. I lowered my head, looked down at the noodles in my own bowl. A blurry reflection of my face floated in the soup. Oh no. I told myself silently. Adrian, you're screwed. Meanwhile, something happened on Jason's side. A shipment from his company got detained by customs. Reason: incomplete import declaration documents. He panicked and started calling upstream suppliers asking them to rush over the missing paperwork. And who were those suppliers? Chan Medical Group. Of course, I wasn't the one who caused the missing paperwork. It genuinely was incomplete. One of his employees forgot to fill in a registration number, but I knew about it, because my father's secretary sent me a message. Young master, that ZH company messed up again. Their customs paperwork is missing a page. Should we remind them? I replied with one word: no. Let him personally experience what real stress feels like. Chapter 9. Jason's shipment was detained for 2 weeks. The financial loss wasn't catastrophic, but it was enough to make him miserable. Oriana disappeared from WeChat moments. All those maternity photos, sunny beaches, peaceful happy life posts, gone. Aaron told me Oriana had recently started borrowing money everywhere. I heard Jason's cash flow is having problems. The shipment's stuck, and downstream clients are demanding refunds. Did you secretly do something behind the scenes? I didn't do anything. Really? Really? He dug his own grave. What does that have to do with me? That wasn't exactly a lie. I truly hadn't done anything. I simply chose not to help. And sometimes, not helping is enough to ruin someone. Saturday night, Carmen called me. Adrian, are you free tonight? What's up? Oriana invited me to dinner. I immediately sat upright. She invited you to dinner? Yeah. Said we hadn't seen each other in a long time and wanted to catch up. It's at the Western restaurant in District A Mall. You're going? I have to. She's still technically a friend. But what? She asked about you 3 separate times during the call. I don't think this dinner is as simple as it sounds. I leaned back in my chair, thought about it for 3 seconds. You want me to go with you? If you're willing, I'll go. Won't it be awkward? Carmen, yeah. Compared to awkwardness, I'm more worried about you handling her alone. That woman smiles with her mouth while calculating with her brain. The line went quiet for a second. Okay, then come at 7 o'clock. District A Mall, 2nd floor Western restaurant. When I arrived, Carmen was already there. Oriana hadn't shown up yet. You dressed pretty formally, she said, glancing at me. I looked down at myself. White shirt, black pants, the belt Aaron gave me for my birthday last year. This is the only shirt I own that isn't wrinkled. At 7:15, Oriana arrived. She had lost a lot of weight. Her stomach was noticeably larger than in the photos. She wore a loose dress. Makeup covered most of her face, but not the dark circles beneath her eyes. The moment she saw me, she stopped walking, like someone had pressed pause on her entire body. Adrian, why are you? I invited him. Carmen said calmly while pulling out the chair beside her. You don't mind, right? The corner of Oriana's mouth twitched slightly. She looked at me, then at Carmen, then sat down. The smile returned to her face, but the curve looked measured with a ruler. Long time no see. Adrian, Last time we met was before you went abroad. The air temperature dropped another degree. The waiter came to take orders. Oriana ordered steak and salad. Carmen ordered pasta. I ordered an Americano. You're not eating? Oriana asked. I ate before coming. Actually, I just didn't want to eat in front of you. No appetite. Sitting at the same table as you makes every piece of food taste faintly like betrayal. After the food arrived, Oriana began probing indirectly. Carmen, where are you working these days? At Aaron's company, interior design. Aaron, isn't he Adrian's friend? Oriana's gaze moved back and forth between the two of us. So are you two, together now? Carmen's hand paused while cutting pasta. I lifted my coffee cup. We are. Chapter 10. Oriana's knife and fork hit the plate with a sharp clink. The entire restaurant seemed to go silent for a second. Carmen turned to look at me. Her eyes widened. Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't deny it. Oriana stared at me. Her fingers tightened around the knife handle hard enough for her knuckles to turn white. When did you two get together? Not long ago. You did this on purpose, didn't you? Did what on purpose? You deliberately went after her. You knew she was my friend, and you deliberately. Oriana. I set down my coffee cup. The bottom of the cup tapped lightly against the table. Not loud, but enough. When you went abroad to have Jason's baby, did you ever remember that I was your fiancée? She went silent. Her face turned as pale as a paper napkin. You chose Jason. I respect your choice, but you no longer have the right to question who I choose. I stood up. Carmen, let's go. She can finish her own dinner. Carmen froze briefly, then picked up her bag and stood with me. Oriana remained seated there alone. In front of her sat a steak sliced exactly 3 times and a glass of untouched water. When I reached the restaurant entrance, I glanced back once. Her head was lowered. Her shoulders were shaking. I turned around and left. Outside the restaurant, Carmen grabbed my sleeve in the hallway. You saying we're together just now? Sorry. I acted first and explained later. You can deny it if you want. I'll go back and explain things clearly to Oriana. She looked at me. The hallway lights reflected in her bright eyes. She still didn't let go of my sleeve. I never said I wanted to deny it. I lowered my gaze to the fingers clutching my cuff. There was pasta sauce on her fingertips. You've got sauce on your hand. She looked down, then hurriedly rubbed her hand against her skirt. The tips of her ears turned red. You seriously, at a moment like this, that's what you notice. So you agree. Agree to what? To us being together. She glared at me, pressed her lips together, then quietly let out a soft so quiet it was almost drowned out by the air conditioning. I stood there. At the far end of the hallway, a child was running around. Cold air drifted through the corridor carrying the artificial fragrance of the shopping mall. My heart suddenly pounded once, hard, like the sudden sharp beep of a heart monitor in an operating room. Well, shit, I'm completely done for now. Chapter 11. After that dinner with Oriana, things began accelerating rapidly. First came Jason. Although his shipment finally cleared customs, 3 downstream clients had already backed out. Penalty fees plus late charges. He lost nearly $2 million in a single month. Then he did something stupid. He went to Chan Medical Group asking for a larger supply quota. He wanted to compensate for the losses by increasing shipment volume. The person receiving him was Old Joe, the procurement director at Chan Medical Group. Old Joe had watched me grow up, the kind of uncle who still gave me red envelopes during Lunar New Year. Jason sat in Old Joe's office for 2 straight hours, talking himself dry while presenting endless PowerPoint slides. Old Joe smiled the entire time, then said only one sentence. Mr. Jason, I'll need to report this proposal upward. Adjustments of the scale require approval from the Chan family. Jason said that was no problem. He had no idea what the Chan family actually meant. He thought it referred to some department. He didn't know that the Chan family was literally my family. Old Joe sent me a message afterward. Young master, your romantic rival came by. Want to meet him? I replied, no, let him wait. How long? Until his wife gives birth. Old Joe replied with a thumbs up emoji. At the same time, Valentina came looking for me, not to argue, to apologize. She stood outside the hospital holding 2 boxes of mooncakes. Her eyes were red. Adrian, could you help Oriana? Help with what? Jason's company is having problems. Oriana's struggling right now, she's almost due. And Jason can't even afford the hospital bills. I looked at her. 3 months ago, this woman had been screaming at Carmen in an elevator. Did you seduce him? Now she stood here holding mooncakes and begging me. Auntie, yes. Oriana is carrying Jason's child. If Jason's company has problems, then Jason should solve them. Coming to me isn't very appropriate. But Oriana, she regrets it now. She's told me so many times that the person she feels most sorry toward is you. Auntie, I interrupted her. Her regret is her business, but her regret is not my responsibility. Valentina stood there silently. The mooncake boxes trembled slightly in her hands. There are 3 days left before the bride price deadline. Please remind her. I turned and walked back into the hospital. Behind me came the sound of a suppressed sob. I didn't stop walking. Not because I was cruel, because I was clear-headed. When sympathy is given to the wrong person, it stops being kindness, it becomes stupidity. That night, Carmen came to my apartment and cooked dinner. She made 3 dishes: braised ribs, sweet and sour cabbage, tomato egg soup. The ribs were too salty. The cabbage was slightly undercooked. The soup was decent. So, how is it? She asked while holding her bowl. Your cooking skills are roughly equivalent to a first-day surgical intern entering an operating room. She tapped my bowl with her spoon. Are you eating or not? If not, I'm dumping it. I'm eating. I picked up a rib. It really was salty, but I still ate 3 bowls of rice. She sat across from me watching me eat, one hand supporting her chin, hair falling loosely over her shoulder. Adrian, did you meet Oriana's mother today? My chewing paused briefly. How did you know? Aaron told me. Aaron, are you running an express intelligence network or something? What did she want? To borrow money. More accurately, she wanted me to help Oriana. Did you help? No. She nodded. Didn't ask further. Instead, she stood up and walked behind me, resting both hands lightly on my shoulders. Very lightly, like she was afraid of hurting me. You did the right thing. Her voice drifted down softly from above. I reached up and held her hands. Her fingertips were cool. Your hands are cold. I just washed the dishes. I pulled her hands in front of me and rubbed them gently. She didn't pull away. Outside the window, the moon was perfectly round. Street light filtered through the curtains, drawing a blurry line of light across the floor. That line happened to connect our shadows together. Chapter 12. The day before the bride price repayment deadline, Oriana called. Not me. She called Carmen, and then Carmen handed the phone to me. Adrian. Oriana's voice no longer sounded the way it used to. No longer sharp. No longer pretentious. Now it was hoarse, like sandpaper scraping against glass. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. Hating you would take too much energy. We can't come up with the bride price money. That's a problem between you and Jason. Adrian. Her voice suddenly rose. Can't you just let me go already? I'm miserable enough as it is. I leaned against the window and looked down at the parking lot below. Oriana, you're mistaken. I'm not the one refusing to let you go. Your own choices are what won't let you go. You chose Jason. Now you have to pay for that choice. That has nothing to do with me. Crying sounds came from the other side of the call. Then Jason's voice appeared. Adrian, it's me. His voice no longer carried that polished businessman confidence. It trembled slightly. I'll repay the money. But can you give us a few more days? I've got a major contract pending. Once Chan Medical approves it, the money will come through. Jason, what? Do you really think Chan Medical is going to approve it? He froze. What do you mean? Nothing. Good luck. I hung up. The next day, everything became clear. The expanded supply contract Jason had waited 3 weeks for was officially rejected by Chan Medical Group. The reason was simple. ZH Medical Devices' financial reports from the past 6 months failed to meet standards. Operational risks were deemed too high. Cooperation suspended. A completely normal business decision. No personal factors involved. But Jason didn't see it that way, because on the same day he received the rejection notice, one of his hospital clients asked him, Jason, do you know the surname of Chan Medical's young master? Chan, obviously. Isn't that a stupid question? Do you know his full name? No, never met him. Why? The client sent him a news article link, an industry media report titled, Chan Medical Group holds internal annual conference, Chan family's eldest grandson Adrian Chan makes public appearance. In the accompanying photo, I sat on stage wearing a suit. My father sat beside me. The moment Jason saw that picture, his phone slipped from his hand, screen first onto the floor. He crouched down, but didn't pick it up, just stayed crouched there, both hands clutching his head. Aaron was the one who told me all this. You know how Jason reacted. He squatted in his office for 20 minutes straight. His assistant thought he was having a heart attack and almost called an ambulance. Then he called you 7 times. You ignored every single one. There's nothing worth discussing. Bro, you're terrifying. You destroyed his career, his pride, and his entire life all at once. His woman was stolen by himself. His business was ruined by himself. I simply chose not to protect him from the consequences. Aaron sighed deeply. You really are something else. You take revenge without ever using a single curse word. Oriana found out too. She heard it from her mother. Her mother heard it from the family group chat. And the source of the family group chat news was my mother. My mother forwarded the article into the relatives group chat. Caption, my son. When Valentina saw that message, she was cooking. Apparently she dropped the spatula directly into the wok. When Oriana saw the screenshot, she had just returned from a prenatal checkup. She sat in the back seat of a taxi, staring at the phone screen. The man in the photo, the one in the suit, was the same Adrian she remembered as a doctor earning $20,000 a month, driving a cheap car, living in a tiny apartment. And yet, Not the same person at all. She sent me a message. Only a few words. You lied to me. I never replied, because she was still blocked. The message was sent successfully, but I would never receive it. Just like all the promises she once made to Jason. Spoken aloud. Yet completely unrelated to me. Chapter 13. 1 year later, Carmen gave birth. Twins. A boy and a girl. The boy looked like me. The girl looked like her. Outside the delivery room, Aaron ran back and forth carrying a bouquet of flowers. Are they born yet? Are they born yet? You're more anxious than I am. No shit, I'm their godfather. A nurse pushed open the door and peeked outside. Mr. Chan, you can come in now. Mother and babies are safe. I stood up. My legs felt a little weak, not from fear, just from holding tension for too long and suddenly letting it go. I pushed open the door. Carmen leaned against the hospital bed, her hair damp with sweat and stuck to her forehead. When she saw me, she smiled, weakly, but her eyes were bright. Look, your son and daughter. The nurse placed 2 tiny bundles beside her. Small, wrinkled, so ugly I momentarily lost the ability to speak, but I crouched beside the bed and stared at them for a long time. Long enough for Aaron to yell from outside. Can you at least let me see them too? Adrian, are you crying? I raised a hand and touched my face. It was actually wet. No, the air conditioning in this room is too cold. She lifted her hand and lightly smacked the top of my head. She barely had any strength left. It felt like a leaf falling softly onto me. Liar. I held her hand. Her palm was burning hot. Her fingers slender and defined. I pressed my lips gently against her fingertips. Didn't say anything. Later, I heard what happened to Jason and Oriana. Jason's company collapsed. Not because of me. Afterward, in order to fix his cash flow problems, he forged a batch of customs declaration documents. He got caught. Suspected commercial fraud. Currently under investigation. Oriana had a massive fight with him. The baby was born, but Jason couldn't even afford formula milk. Oriana's mother sold one of the family's smaller apartments to pay the hospital bills. Oriana posted a status update online. No picture, just one sentence. If I could do it over again. Not a single person liked the post. I never saw it, because I was at home changing diapers for 2 tiny human beings. The boy peed all over my hand. The girl giggled beside him. Carmen sat on the sofa drinking red date soup while recording me with her phone. The way you change diapers is so ugly. You want to try? No. I handled giving birth. You handle raising them. Clear division of labor. This isn't division of labor. This is exploitation. She laughed, raised her phone higher and snapped a picture of me panicking with diapers. I'm posting this. You wouldn't dare. I already thought of the caption. Heir to the Chan medical empire defeated by 2-month-old human infants. Scene too tragic to witness. Carmen. She had already pressed send. Sunlight spilled across the floor outside the window. The baby's tiny clothes hung drying on the balcony. When the wind blew, they fluttered like 2 tiny flags. I stood by the window, holding my son in one arm while wiping baby pee off my sleeve with the other. My phone buzzed. Aaron sent me a message. Brother. I screenshotted that photo. I'm turning it into a meme sticker. I typed one-handed. Try it. I'll have your company supplier replaced tomorrow. Ha 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 ha, no please. President Chan. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Carmen walked over and picked up our daughter. The little girl grabbed a strand of her mother's hair. Wouldn't let go. Carmen lowered her head to look at her, then raised her eyes toward me. Adrian. Thank you. For what? For getting cheated on. I froze. Otherwise, how would I ever have found you? When she smiled, her eyes curved into 2 crescent moons, exactly the same as the first time she choked on noodle soup at that little noodle shop. I stood there, sunlight burning warmly against my face. My heart thumped wildly, like the 2 little troublemakers kicking blankets in their sleep. I got cheated on once in this lifetime. Was it a loss? Not at all. Best investment I ever made.